Well, it's that time again. I have done 2 more biscuit firings. I have 12 days left of the 100 days, and I am busy trying to get at least the biscuit firing done as much as possible by the end of the 100 days, although the glazing will take a bit longer. So I'm going to open the 2 kilns, because I've done 2 kilns worth of biscuit firing, and show you what's in there, because that's what I've been live videoing, so I thought I'd carry on with that. And here we go. This is kiln number 2. So this was a biscuit firing, and in kiln number 2 we had, let me just check what temperature, I think it went, this one went up to 985, if I'm right. Yeah, 985 the temperature went up to. So this is the kiln with the higher temperature, and it's the first time that I've got any pieces with slip on. This one hasn't got a slip on, but this is one of the mugs that I did using the profile of one of the cups in the Sam's collection. And this is the slip, which has iron oxide in it. I used the toasted slipware with iron oxide inside, and it was brushed on the outside of the pot. So, and that's an S-shaped profile, and that's quite a common profile for pots. Well, Roman and pre-Roman actually, but it's just where you get the lip coming out, and then you can see the S on the side. And I've got several of those, because I was trying to get the round shape, and what was happening as I was making the round shape of the pot is that as I pulled it in, I kept pulling it in and pulling it in, because there was a particular shape that I had in my head, and I would always go just that little bit too far and the pot would collapse. And that's why I've got so many sea urchin pots, because I was trying to do this very, I don't know if you can see it, quite a flat top but a broad out at the bottom, and I really like it. This is one of my later ones, and so I'm quite, so that they're getting a bit better, they're lighter, they've got a smoother inside, so they're pulled out better. So the later pots definitely are thrown in a much more professional way. This next pot I have an amusing story with. So, pudding pan. I thought pudding pan was the shape of a pot, but actually it's a place. I thought pudding pan because I thought there might have got puddings in it, but no. So I did a couple of pots using that shape as an inspiration, and yeah, and things like the way that I turn the bottom of the pot. It's just so much better than my earlier examples. It's a little jug. That's kind of a Romany shaped jug. You can see my dad walking along in the background.
Fuses down the
and I'm sorry, my dad's just asking me where fuses are when I'm in the middle of doing a live feed video. No, they're in the electric box over there. And this one has got a burnished bit at the bottom, and you have, when you take your firing up in the to a little bit high, you do lose some of the burnish, so it'll be interesting. But one of the other things that I found when I was looking hello Rosie, hello Tommy, when I was glazing, is that if you burnish the outside of the pot, then the glaze doesn't stick so thickly to it, but also if it's got anything inside it like an iron oxide, it doesn't come out of the wood. It's like a little, it is like putting a little bit of a barrier, because what you do is you smooth all the platelets that are in the clay to make it smooth, and you push in all the little lumpy bits, and you just make it a bit more resistant. So if you burnish it and you wax it, that's what the kind of Neolithic potters would have, would have had. They'd have had this very smooth pottery that they would have cooked with. It wouldn't have lasted as long, but it had a particular feel and a particular look. So that's that was one of my first cups that I ever made. And the handle, that handle is done by, I actually cheated, I extruded it. So my first handles that I did on my jugs, I pulled it in the Somerset way, where you stick it on the top and then you pull the handle, but I have to admit I extruded these using the extruder and just stuck it on. So the other thing that they did, I've got in the collection at Sands, is this amazing bottle. Oh, I've forgotten the name of the ware. I'll put it on the information at the bottom of this anyway. But they've got this amazing bottle which has a very round bottom and then a really, really, really long neck. And so I was trying to get the really, really long neck in a couple of the pieces that I did, and I made this little pot trying to get that. Honestly, their neck that they've done is about that high with a really round base, and then they've cut out the bars, so it's got holes in it, and then it's got this slipware glaze. It's just amazing. But that was my go, and it's been quite useful actually, having the pots to use to try and inspire me to do something different. I think if I'd just been going along in my own way, doing my, trying to do my own thing, I might have got stuck with a particular type, which might have had its advantages. But this way, I've gone, okay, what am I looking at? I'm looking at this particular shape. How can I recreate that shape? What are the issues I've got with those shapes? Going back to Dad, asking how to solve problems. And so that's been quite nice. And more recently, I've got into the slipware and the decoration, but when I was making these, I was really looking at the shapes of the pots in the collection and trying to do examples of those particular pots. And what I have to do now when I go back is try and renumber all the pots, and then take photos of them and then organise them so that I've got the history of each pot, how it was when it was wet, before it was turned, when it's turned, then when it's decorated, then when it's biscuit fired. Then I look at the glazing and I talk about what the glazing is, and then you see the final pot. So I'm actually not in a position where I can show you any of the final pots at the moment, because all of the pots that I've got are in that, either they are just biscuit-wared, or they're wet and in the process of becoming biscuit. Now, I've not looked under here yet. So any of you who know me will know that on Friday I went to a funeral. So my dad's brother died, which during this period of time, he had Parkinson's, absolutely horrendous illness. And so yesterday we travelled back on Friday, and I hadn't felt much like doing anything, but I did manage to throw a pot. But I didn't open the kiln. I didn't feel like doing a video live stream or anything. I just went into, like a little hamster, went into a corner and went out actually for a drink with a friend of mine called Louisa, which was great. Had fish and chips. Now this I used washi tape on the outside of, and then painted a slip over it, because I've got these most amazing pots in the house which are burnished, where somebody has used this tape on the outside of the pot, and where they've removed the tape and then they've put them into a smoke fire where they've been burnished, the smoke hasn't gone in. Do you remember I was saying about the burnishing bit being smooth on the outside so it doesn't absorb the colours or absorb the glazes? It's exactly the same with the smoke when you're doing a smoke firing. And so I was just practicing using a little bit of tape on the outside to see what it looked like when I put the slip on the outside. And Dad at the moment, one of the reasons he's over there is that he's looking to find some different stains so that I can maybe get some different colours on the outside. And that's from Mum. Mum said, please don't just do browns and greens. She wanted me to do some brighter colours. So I'm going to have a go at that. I also want to do some slipwear because the Donyak wear has got some amazing slip hands that I wanted to try doing trailing. So I don't know if I'll get to do that during this time. I think the thing that has amazed me is how, what a ridiculous concept I had about using the collection to inspire me at the same time as learning to throw. I didn't realise how much time it would actually take to do all aspects of this. It's been an amazing experience, but it's been absolutely full on and full time. So this is another one of my Diablo pots. Again, I mean, if you feel the other Diablo pots that I did early on, yeah, it was sad, Rosie, sad. And you feel this one, it's absolutely amazing the difference in the quality of the thing that I've made. The other ones feel like leg weights, but this one's quite light. Now there are some very tiny pots, which I made because I use tiny bits of clay and they're quite difficult. But the other one, like this one, is tiny because I failed so many times with it. Gradually the piece of clay got smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's a tiny pot because that's what I was left with. But I quite like it, with the round bottom. Did you manage it?
No, I think it must be this fuse box.
Okay. Well, when I finish this, yeah? So the tiny foot. Well, I'm glad you're finding this very informative, Rosie. You must come down and throw a pot with me. I have taught 2 people to throw pots now. Proud. I might not be a very good potter, might be a shit potter, but I'm a great teacher. That's what I do. Anyway, so that's one where I put a little tiny... Now I've got some with really, really small feet, and they're not the most stable in the world. They might look pretty, but they're not most stable, so they're going to have to be ornaments for people. So if you have sponsored me and you are potentially going to win one of the pots, have a think about whether or not where you're going to put them, because if they've got really narrow bottoms and they're not very stable, they might not last very long. The other people have been saying, oh, excellent. I'd love, that was to Rosie saying well done, yes, it'll be good to see you. The other thing that I can't remember what I was going to say, it's my age, I do that. I start talking and I forget what I'm going to say. I really wanted a set of little cups that can go on the table to have water in with a jug. That was what I wanted. You've got a narrow bottom. I haven't. I'm going for world domination by my bottom, Rosie, as you well know, and I'm very proud of it. Now, these little things, these were going to be little cups. I'm making a jug to go with it so that we can have fruit juices. So please, I hope they don't put these out for winning. Or maybe I'll just have to make myself some more. So Dad's quite sculptural in the pots that he does, whereas I think I favour more the domestic ware. I have this love of making things that you can use. It's one of my little jugs, without a handle. And that's with the toasted stoneware, that's why it's slightly pinky. And that's what I put. So this is the clay that I put the iron oxide with to make that richer colour, which I then painted on the outside of the white stoneware to make those patterns. Rosie, you do know I've done 100 pots already. I think I'm on about 162. So 36 of those were the first pots I ever threw before the 100 pots. So I'm on about 120, kind of 126, aren't I? A little bowl for soup, maybe. Again, a much lighter pot. And then a little one where I've done sgraffito on the outside with a dark slip. So sgraffito is named in that you actually scratch the outside of the pot so that you go through a layer of slip into a different colour underneath. Although you can just scratch into a pot to make the design and then put something like an iron oxide in to make it stand out. And then my final and favourite pot. Now that you have to be impressed with, Rosie. This is definitely an impressive pot because it's very, very, very fine and very light and out a long way. That is definitely a step change pot for me. Right, so this was the 985 degrees, and the other one is 950 with, I think, so how much did we soak the first, how much did we soak that one for? That one was a soak for 10 minutes, wasn't it? So this was soaked at the highest temperature for 10 minutes. So you bring the kiln up to, this one was to 985, so you bring the kiln up over a period of hours to 985 degrees. And then at that top temperature, you soak it for a period of
5 minutes on this one.
Whereas this one was 950 and then soaked for 5 minutes. And that's because I've got a pot which was burnished in there, and I wanted to see if I could keep the burnish on the outside more because I just want to smoke fire it. So I'm going to show you this one now. I can't move you because you're on top of a wheel, so you get a bit of height. But I have taken a photo in, so if you want to, you can see it. Now I want to keep them separate if I can. Tommy Tippy, just have a cup of tea and a little rest. Oh, lovely. So I'm going to have to take photos of these all separately so that I can log which kiln they were put in, what temperature they were done, fired to, what clay I used. All of that information goes onto my blog. So those can all go over, so I'll put the other ones on the other side. Okay, I can't see what anybody's written because you're too far away and my eyesight's not that good, but I will bring them over and then I'll be able to read. So this is another little cup, and this has got a burnished top with a sgraffito patterned bottom, and underneath is the number 73. And so that was on day 73 that I did it. So I've got several numbering things. If I did it again, I'd do so many things differently. So I've got 3 numberings. The first one is the number of the pot in the whole of the journey. So from pot 1 to pot 163. Hi, Andrew. And pot 163. This is me doing my Andrew and I are in a band together, so I play drums badly and he plays bass well. And he said he'd watched me doing one of these live Facebooks and said I looked like I was on Blue Peter. So I made one of these earlier, Andrew. Anyway, I can't remember what I was... Oh yeah, so number of different numbering styles on the pot. One was that it was from the first pot that I'd ever made through to pot 162. The second is the number on the bottom of the cup, and I tried to keep it to the day, but for some reason got lost along the way and didn't keep it to the pot of the day being the day that it was made on, so that's gone a bit haywire. And then I've got obviously the day the pot was made on, and the other thing I've got is the number of the pot starting from the one that I did at the start of the 100 days. And so, yes, I have confused myself and made myself much more work by being disorganised and losing track of where I am as I go along, which my friends like Rosie will know that I have always done. I create work unnecessarily for myself because I'm a bit of a tit. Now, this is slip work done on the wheel with a brush, which is how you get it, the ring so good. Good, so good, that's a bit bad English. How you get it so even. And again, this is a later pot, so it's quite light. It's got a very fine edge with a slightly heavier bottom. The heavier bottom is there so that it doesn't fall over so easily. Scotty vase. This is where I've been looking at the Donyak way, looking at the training of the slip, and I put slip on the pots wet whilst they were on the wheel, and then used my finger or a brush to try and make it run and look different. And so those are two pots where I was trialling that. Trailing that. So I had an experience with somebody during Somerset Art Weeks, had an experience with somebody coming and visiting the collection and looking at my dad's work and my work. And the whole idea, or the concept behind it, was that we'd have my journey of my 100 pots from the first pot that you've ever made, starting from the number one pot through to the pot that I was currently on. And we had a what are you doing, Dad?
That's not.
That's on.
Eh?
That's working, the light's on, it is working, darling. We've got a problem with the fuses which Dad is trying to sort. Oh, is there a delay still? Rosie? It might be that my internet's not very good. Anyway, so this person came to have a look, and so I've got my whole line of pots out upstairs in this journey. And people come and look at the journey, they talk to me about the collection at Somerset Archaeological and Natural History Society, and then they see the last pot that I've ever done and how good it is, and then they go down and see my father's work. And that mind-blowing difference between somebody who's been potting for 40 years, has been burnishing for 20 of those 40 years, is just that's the art. It's like performance art. It's a conceptual piece where you go and you have it's just about the journey. It's not about looking at a single pot and saying you like it. It's about somebody's experiential journey through and being taught by their father and all of that lovely stuff that goes with it. Anyway, so somebody from Somerset Art Weeks came and had a look, and the thing that this woman said to me, the one thing that this woman said to me, was she picked up one of my little pots and she said, "Oh, you could make another one of those and you could sell them." And I'm sitting there thinking, I think you've missed the point. I think you missed the point here, darling. But hey ho, the wind and the rain. Now, slip at the bottom is okay because it doesn't stick, because it's clay. Glaze at the bottom like that, oh no, because clay at the bottom like that means it's going to stick to the kiln and you're going to be in a bit of a sticky mess. So that is yesterday's pot of the day. Out of the kiln. Cooey. My little coffee mug. A little coffee mug. You can call it that. I did try and splat it in and make it dribble down. Didn't work for me. Not quite sure why. I need to practice that. Okay, so this is the burnished pot. Rosie, shall I stop this and start it again to see if I can get it in sync? Anyway, so that's the burnished pot, as you can see. Can you see the light shining on it? That's the... And so what I'm hoping is going to happen is that when I smoke it, you're still going to be able to see the pink and the white, and where I've scratched it and you've not got any of the burnish, it's going to soak into the pot, and so those lines are going to be really black. Fingers crossed, you never can tell. So that's first try. So yes, firing it lower with a shorter soak keeps its burnish, although it seemed to have quite a bit of burnish on the other one as well. S-shaped profile. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to carry on because Rosie has said she thinks it'll be okay. So I'm going, because I've not got long to go really now, so I'm on the last shelf. So I'm going to take this kiln shelf out. I did a more sculptural piece here. My mother thinks it looks like a potty. Somebody else said it looked like a lady's vagina or fufu, depending on how old you are. I was thinking it was like a lily. A lily, my brain. But it has... So this is an S-shaped profile pot that went wrong. It's going to be a plant pot. I made a hole at the bottom. Last few. So that is a like one of the sea urchin pots. I do like that design where you come out flat at the bottom and pull it round, and then you've got that thinner hole in the middle. So 2 plain little cups from that section. These are all from the same day, so only one of these will be chosen if they're chosen. Hello, Dave. And then the final 2. With the toasted stoneware, so not done with slit, that's just the clay itself. And that was one of the pudding pan bowls that I made, so I made 2 of those. And that's it. As I did last time, I'm going to take you up and show you the... Hope you stay. So I'm going to take you upstairs and show you what I'm doing at the moment. So here, as I'm coming up the stairs, you can see the bottles of slip that I've got. And there are 2 types. So there's the lighter and the darker. Lighter and darker, you can't see it so well. The lighter and the darker, and the lighter is the white stoneware and the darker is the toasted stoneware. And here are the pre-fired pots drying out. They're drying out a bit slower at the moment. And here are burnished pots that I want, which are shiny on the outside where I've rubbed them with a stone. You can see the stone over there that I've been using and how I've scratched out. That's a vase, and that's a pot. That's the pot, Rosie, that Louisa likes because she thinks it looks like it's underwater. And those are all the pots that have been biscuit fired. And these are my latest designs. So that's a pot 160, which is a bit wobbly. I was tired when I did that. Hello, Nay. This one is 161, that was a bit better, so they were done on the same day. Pot 159, which is quite a big one. So I'm using the same amount of clay, no more than the 4 pounds of clay, but my pots are able to get a bit bigger. That one's more sculptural. I made it into a different shape. Oops. My favourite shape, my sea urchin shape. I do like that shape. And then what have I got under here? Oh yes. Oh yes, one of the big pots. 157. So that's where I am at the moment. Welcome to my little world of pottery pots. Oh, and there are some cups over there that need to be, they've got their handles on now and I just need to decorate them. Oh, 162. Favourite shape, my little. That's the last one I did last night. It's a little sea urchin-y one. Anyway, that's me done. Nay, if you come down, this is where you'll be doing pottery. So I'm going to sign off, remind people that the sponsoring of this is still ongoing. If you would like to win one of the pots or you just want to show me that you care and love me, please feel free. Please sponsor me either through the Facebook page or through the Somerset Archaeological and Natural History Society web page, which you will find links to either on Facebook, because you're all looking at me on Facebook, so that's where to go. The actual Facebook sponsorship portal will close later on this month, but you'll still be able to do that. Also, I'm going to be doing a talk with somebody called David Dawson, who is an expert on Somerset pottery, so you'll get me talking about this and my journey, and then you'll get David talking about the really amazing collection that we've got at the Somerset Archaeological and Natural History Society. And if you could see me there on the 16th of November to share that moment and smile at me getting embarrassed and not knowing what to do. Hello Hennessy, would you want me to play with your ball? It's my dog. Then that would just be really lovely. Hennessy won't be there, unfortunately, but I will be with my pots. I'm going to try and take all 100 of them with me so you can see the journey, plus my first pots. Look forward to seeing you there.